Okay, this week we're staying in the trenches and counting down our next top 10 list, the top 10 defensive linemen of all time. Stay tuned to find out which legendary player claims that top spot. All right, first let's walk through the data set. The criteria we'll be using to rank the defensive linemen will be as follows. They must be a Hall of Fame player and must have played at least 1 year in the modern era, which is 1970 through the present. Now, looking at the database, there are currently 45 defensive linemen in the Hall of Fame, but only 33 have played in the modern era. Now, let's break down the FGV, or the Football Guy evaluation. All pro selections will score 7 points per selection. Pro Bowl appearances will score 3 points per appearance, and they'll get half a point for each year that they played in the league. We'll also take into account sacks at 5 points per sack and interceptions at 4 points per interception. Now, let's get started. All right, starting off our list at number 10 is the first of 3 players representing the Minnesota Vikings, defensive tackle John Randle. Randle played in 219 games on his way to earning 6 All-Pro selections and 7 Pro Bowl appearances. Randle had 1 interception and recorded 137.5 sacks in his 14-year career. He went undrafted in 1990, being told he was underweight to play the position. He did get an opportunity to try out for the Vikings and actually used a chain that was hidden on his body to help him make weight at the camp. Randle was known for eccentric face painting as well as trash talking on the field and disarming on-field heckling of opposing players. Randle had an ongoing rivalry with Packers quarterback Brett Favre, whom he sacked more than any other quarterback. Favre said that Randle was the toughest defensive player he faced and that on artificial turf, he's unblockable. To play off the rivalry with Brett Favre, Randle starred in a commercial which featured him sewing a miniature version of Favre's number 4 jersey, which he put on a live chicken. The commercial then showed Randle chasing the chicken around what was supposed to be Randle's backyard and ended with Randle cooking chicken on his barbecue.
6 yards of hunter green, 2 yards of gold, stick pins, heavy-duty thread, and some of those iron-on transfers.
Randle comes in at number 10 with an FGV score of 864. Okay, the number 9 defensive lineman of all time played his entire 15-year career for the New York Giants, defensive end Michael Strahan. Strahan played in 216 games on his way to earning 4 All-Pro selections and 7 Pro Bowl appearances. Strahan had 4 interceptions and recorded 141.5 sacks in his 15-year career. Few defensive ends in the NFL were more dominant than Strahan from 1997 to 2005. He was named the 2001 NFL Defensive Player of the Year and was a 2-time NFC Defensive Player of the Year in 2001 and 2003. In 2001 season, Strahan set the record for sacks in a single season with 22.5, the highest tally since it was made an official stat in 1982, breaking New York Jet Mark Gastineau's record of 22. Strahan comes in at number 9 with an FGV score of 880.50. And now the 8th best defensive lineman of all time, and he's a 3rd-round draft pick out of Akron, defensive end Jason Taylor. Taylor played in 233 games on his way to earning 3 All-Pro selections and 6 Pro Bowl appearances. Taylor had 8 interceptions and recorded 139.5 sacks in his 15-year career. Taylor was awarded the Defensive Player of the Year award in 2006, beating out Champ Bailey and Sean Merriman, and the 2007 Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Taylor comes in at number 8 with an FGV score of 885.00. Coming in at number 7, our first of 2 representatives for the Rams, tough as nails defensive end Jack Youngblood. Youngblood played in 202 games on his way to earning 5 All-Pro selections and 7 Pro Bowl appearances. Youngblood had 0 interceptions and recorded 151.5 sacks in his 14-year career. Now, he played in the 1979 playoffs, including Super Bowl 14, with a fractured left fibula. He also played in the 1980 Pro Bowl with the injured leg a week after the Super Bowl and made the NFL Network's list of the gutsiest performances of all time. Youngblood comes in at number 7 with an FGV score of 914.50. And our number 6 player on the list is the second and last defensive tackle on the list, and also played for the Minnesota Vikings, defensive tackle Alan Page. Page played in 218 games on his way to earning 5 All-Pro selections and 9 Pro Bowl appearances. Page had 2 interceptions and recorded 148.5 sacks in his 16-year career. He is our first of 2 throwback players playing throughout the 60s and 70s. He had an unusual 3-point stance, placing his left hand rather than his right on the ground. During his 15-year career, 11 as a Purple People Eater, the Vikings won 4 conference titles and 1 league championship. Page was the first defensive player in NFL history to win the MVP award and is a member of both the College Football Hall of Fame and the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He is also considered one of the greatest defensive linemen ever to play the game. Alan Page comes in at number 6 with an FGV score of 921.50. All right, moving on to the number 5 best defensive lineman of all time and our last Minnesota Viking on the list, defensive end Chris Dolman. Dolman played in 232 games on his way to earning 2 All-Pro selections and 8 Pro Bowl appearances. Dolman had 8 interceptions and recorded 150.5 sacks in his 15-year career. He was the 4th overall draft pick in 1985 out of the University of Pittsburgh and started as an outside linebacker before planting his hand in the ground and becoming a standout defensive end. He led the league in sacks in 1989 with 21, was voted as one of the 50 greatest Vikings of all time, and was inducted into the Vikings Ring of Honor in 2011. Dolman comes in at number 5 with an FGV score of 938.50. Coming in as the number 4 best defensive lineman of all time, the Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2002, Julius Peppers. Peppers played in 266 games on his way to earning 3 All-Pro selections and 9 Pro Bowl appearances. He also had 11 interceptions and recorded 159.5 sacks in his 17-year career. Peppers played college football at the University of North Carolina and was also a walk-on for the basketball team. He was a reserve on the 1999-2000 team that made the Final Four, and on the 2000 and 2001 team, he scored 21 points and grabbed 10 rebounds in the second round of the tournament before deciding to focus solely on football. Peppers was voted to the All-Decade team for both the 2000s and the 2010s, and comes in at number 4 with an FGV score of 1,022.50. All right, we're getting to it. We're about to crack into the top 3. And coming in at number 3, best defensive lineman of all time, our second Ram on the list and our second throwback player on the list, the Secretary of Defense, defensive end Deacon Jones. Jones played in 191 games, the lowest total to make the top 10 list, and earned 5 All-Pro selections and 8 Pro Bowl appearances. Jones also had 2 interceptions and recorded 173.5 sacks in his 13-year career. Jones led the league in sacks 5 out of the 10 years in the 60s. He was drafted in the 14th round of the 1961 draft by the Rams and would go on to become part of the fearsome foursome, including Lamar Lundy, Rosie Greer, and Merlin Olsen. Jones comes in at number 3 with an FGV score of 1,030.00. All right, our number 2 defensive lineman of all time started his professional career in the USFL, playing 2 years for the Memphis Showboats. Standout defensive end Reggie White. White played in 232 games on his way to earning 8 All-Pro selections and 13 Pro Bowl appearances. White had 3 interceptions and recorded 198 sacks in his 15-year career. He also won the Defensive Player of the Year award in 2 different decades, 1987 and 1998. And led the NFL in sacks in 1987 and 88. White is a member of the NFL 1980s All-Decade Team, the NFL 1990s All-Decade Team, the NFL 75th Anniversary All-Time Team, the NFL 100th Anniversary All-Time Team, the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame, the Philadelphia Eagles 75th Anniversary Team, the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, and had his number 92, retired by both the Eagles and the Packers. White comes in at number 2 on our list with an FGV score of 1,213. And now, our number 1 defensive lineman of all time, and the first overall pick of the 1985 draft, Defensive end Bruce Smith. Smith played in 279 games on his way to earning 8 All-Pro selections and 11 Pro Bowl appearances. He had 2 interceptions and is the career leader in sacks with 200 during his 19-year career. Smith would win the Defensive Player of the Year award twice, in 1990 and 1996, and, surprisingly, would never lead the league in sacks. Of his 19 seasons in the NFL, 13 of them were seasons where he had at least 10 sacks, a testament to his consistency year in and year out. Smith claims our top spot with an FGV score of 1,236.50. And those are the top 10 defensive linemen of all time. So what do you think? Personally, I think the fact that Reggie White started his career in the USFL for 2 years and that Bruce Smith played 4 more years than White should put White in the top spot, but that's not what the numbers say. Let me know in the comments who your favorite defensive lineman of all time is. As always, stay safe out there. I'll see you next time.